I haven't shared this with a lot of people, but I'll share it on your podcast because I think it'll definitely get people to look at life in a different perspective. And I say this because, everyone is always chasing money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So money is a form of energy.
Yeah.
And how you receive that is how you're going to spend it. And think about that. So if it was created through a very negative, not positive way that gives back to this world, and I'm not saying it to sound cliche or anything, but like, for example, if you really worked hard for that money, it comes in a form of a very positive way where you're going to allow to spend that in a positive way, and it circulates in a positive way. So the energy from that money that comes into your life is going to get circulated through a positive path in how it's spent. And if it's coming in negative, let's say you go out and you rip somebody off to make money. The person who got ripped off is going to send some really bad negative vibes and energy towards that because he got ripped off. Like, for example, you get robbed, somebody steals your watch, your wife's purse or whatever, and they go and they sell that purse and watch, and they get that money and they made money, right? It took money that they didn't belong. How that's going to get spent, if they're going to go spend that money for their family, for example, the kid will eventually get sick or have cancer or have something negative that will come to them because the money that was spent to buy the food for that kid came from such a very negative place. So it's going to put negativity into you and everything you do. But if you do it through a positive way, it circulates 10 times more. And all of a sudden, that money that you just spent $1 is circulated. It's going to come back and turn into 100. That same money, like you gave this money to this guy, he gave it to another guy, that guy gave it to another guy. It's circulated. All the same money will come back to you. That $1 will turn into $100.
Yep.
And it's vice versa. When you receive it in a negative way, guess what? You go into debt. All of a sudden, you're driving, you hit a pothole. And I'm not saying people that hit potholes and they need to replace their tires is they took negative money. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, sometimes shit happens, So,
yeah, I'm not saying that. But I feel that I give this recommendation to all. And I've seen my really successful friends who beat the system because they knew they could, paid every single dollar back, but in a different form. So what I'm saying is, don't think you're getting ahead by ripping people off or cheating your way into success. I guarantee you everything in life is balanced. You're going to pay for every single penny that you took that did not belong to you. So try to work. Yeah.
I think it's an amazing point. And I think, it can be a little bit esoteric to think about, money as energy, but I always like to say we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And, the mind or our beings or our spiritual beings, our spirit, our soul, whatever, if we're having a physical experience, then we have to somehow or another, materialize, our love or our hate or, our negative, our positive, or whatever. And money is that currency. I haven't posted it, but I wrote a blog post at some point in time I'm going to post regarding currency, because I think the only true currency is attention. And where you put your attention is what you're spending your money on, or how you spend your money is where you put your attention, or vice versa. And
so true.
If we thought of our attention span, we have, in terms of hours or in terms of minutes or seconds, whatever we focus on, whatever we put our attention on, that's how we're spending our money. And we have 24 hours in a day. and, for every hour we spend, we're going to get so much return, unless you spend it on something, that has no return, that's mush, and like social media for most people, not everyone, some people make a lot of money because they're putting so much into it that they're going to get that return. Other people are using it as an escape. The same way a drug addict might use a drug, they're using it. And so, they're getting nothing back. And that's where they spend their attention. So I love that. And I hope everyone hears that, where they put their money, and how they put their money, with love or with hate, is going to be how they get it back. I hope people hear that.
It's so true, because it's circular. It really does circulate. And I've, believe it or not, I've tested it, and there's ways to do it. And we could probably share this in another podcast because it's a whole process, but there's ways that you can actually test this. And there's studies that, if you, I think, I don't remember the name, but I think it was a study where there was 2 jars, and I don't know if there was.
God, this rings a bell.
Like you're like complimenting one thing and you're putting a lot of hate on another, and
which one gets more money? Like, there's some like they put a sign on it, or they but the people putting money in the jar couldn't see which jar was which, but the one I don't know. It's something like that.
I this was years ago that I I bring that up because I know even when you spend the money on products that you just mentioned, that you have attraction or attention to, that really better or create some sort of a positivity in your life, and you're spending it on whatever the product is or whomever the person is with joy, that joy brings joy to them, and it's going to bring joy to others. But if it's like, if you're spending the money and you're just like, you have to give the money because you are obligated, and I'm not talking about taxes here, right? Because everybody hates paying taxes. But it's just, pay attention. The next time you spend money or you receive money, find out if it was deserved. And if it wasn't, that's fine. It. You're guilty of it. Take the portion that was not deserved and give it back. Give it back to a charity. Give it to something of an organization, because you don't want to turn that negative money and put it into your day-to-day life or into your family.
See, this is what we were talking about. And then I think this is a little bit esoteric, but, you hear, the old ways of alchemy, turning lead into gold. And you were talking earlier, you mentioned, wealthy people donating to charities. And I think and I question, does that actually make them happier? And I think and this is, I'm curious to get your perspective on this, but if you are saying, it's not that you feel guilty, but I need to give back. I have such great wealth, and I'm going to transmute whatever money I have coming in into other people's joy, and you can exponentially do good for people that way. But if you're just doing it strictly out of guilt, then there's a good chance that you're not going to feel better, and you're going to have a whole host of other problems because you're putting it out there in the wrong way.
No, you're absolutely right.
It takes a level of mindfulness, a level of intentionality to really transmute, whatever, I don't know, some people call it karma, bad energy, good energy, negative, positive. I think, that person that has ill-gotten gains, that's trying to feed their family, if they think they have no other choice but to do what they're doing to feed their family, and it's out of love, I think it's possible that child may not get sick and may actually be able to flourish.
I agree. And again, I was just using an example. What I was trying to say is that, listen, you could, if you want to steal to feed your kid, you can easily walk into a grocery store and, you know, negotiate with the whomever that's there to say, hey, look, I have a family that I need to feed. I know you're going to throw away X amount of stuff. You know, can you help me out? Blah, blah, blah. And show pictures of your family, and they can actually do that. You know, I not going breaking somebody's house and steal their belonging, and, you know, going with a gun, and if they see him and they shoot him because they need to go feed a family. So I agree, but at the same time I disagree. There's ways, if you're literally looking to feed a family, there's way positive ways. I mean, there's so many organizations, there's so many places that you can go to that can help support that. I mean, that's where our tax dollars are going, into so many different foundations. I mean, look, you have to be smart. You have to go out and understand. And look, when you do that and you do it the right way, God's going to really open up more doors. The universe is going to open up more doors for you, because while you're there, you're going to meet somebody else who's struggling just like yourself. And you're going to create another, you know, your top 5 there. And together you're going to survive through some of the challenges, because that guy might know something that you don't, that he's going to say, hey, by the way, do you know there's also this is available and that's available? And now it's opening up other doors for this guy not to go in somebody's house and steal and end up going in jail. And this kid is going to be raised with no father. So,
and that to me is the worst crime, is that we make people feel shame so that they don't feel comfortable going out and talking to other people or explaining or sharing their experience, because it's the people that feel shame that shame festers, and that then they end up going and doing something that they're going to regret, because 100%. They just couldn't talk to someone, you know, they couldn't share their story.
It's true, because a lot of these people, I mean, they don't want their family to know that they're struggling.
Right.
You know, and look, life is a struggle. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or you're poor. It's a struggle no matter what.
Want more? Check out this clip or the full episode. And don't forget to leave a comment. If you want more conversations and clips, check out our channel. Thanks for listening. See you next time.